Good morning, my name is Francesc Bosch. I am head of the Department of Hematology at University Hospital Vall in Barcelona. And now we are at ASH, Orlando 2019. And I'm going to talk about how to maximize the quality of life of patients that are included in clinical trials. So the first thing is to emphasize the importance of including patients in clinical trials. There are advantages for everybody that is including patients. The first benefactor of that is the hospital. The hospital is improving the excellence of the center and is saving some cost in including patients in clinical trials. The second is the doctors that are referring patients, because they are offering an option for the patient that was otherwise probably lost for the therapy. The third actor that is a beneficiary of the clinical trials are the companies, because they can test the drug, they can train doctors for the new drug to get used to the side effects, to know how to use the pills or to infuse the drug. So this is a triple win-win when you're including patients in clinical trials. How can improve the quality of those patients in clinical trials? Well, we have to take into consideration many things. One of them is polymedication. Patients are taking a lot of different drugs because usually they are old, so we have to take into consideration all these drugs they are taking. The other thing is to do a plan for exercise. It's important that patients are moving around, so keep physical activity for that. And then the other thing is to take into account all the social network of the patient. They need support to be included in clinical trials. Here at ASH we have some recent examples of how to improve the quality of those patients. And I have to say, if you are using a drug that is working, the quality of life is always better, because you are controlling the disease, you tend to be cured. We have an excellent example, for instance, with the use of Mab, which is a bispecific monoclonal antibody. We heard yesterday, a plenary session, the communication of the experience with this bispecific. It's called BITE. In patients with refractory diffuse large B-cell lymphoma and follicular lymphoma. So the results were excellent. 270 patients. Patients achieve around 20% CR in diffuse large B-cell lymphoma and 40% CR, which is an impressive rate in follicular lymphoma. Then we have, as I said, this is an example of putting patients in a clinical trial. Those patients were refractory, have received a lot of drugs, and they had no chances. And thanks to the inclusion in clinical trials, they are in response. They can be perhaps cured due to this inclusion, due to this participation in this clinical trial things that we are seeing. It's important to note that there were 30 patients that were already pretreated with CAR T cells, that were refractory to CAR T cells, and were salvaged by using bispecific monoclonal antibodies. So again, an example that we have to put all our patients in clinical trials in order to improve their quality of life, take into consideration all the medication, exercise, and everything. And we have histories of success on these patients, so patients that were lost now are cured.